In his critique of Brexit, Tony Blair offers a searing analysis of the UK's failure to deliver on its promises, and particularly in the realm of immigration control. I think he's absolutely and fundamentally right. I don't think it's necessarily Brexit which is the problem, but the way Brexit was implemented by Lord Frost and the various twits involved. Brexit may possibly have worked, but the Brexit we've got is a disaster. Brexit was sold to the public with the promise of taking back control, especially with regard to the flow of migrants into the UK. However, as Blair highlights, the opposite has occurred. Rather than reducing immigration, Brexit has shifted the profile of migrants, swapping European workers for increased migration from Asia and Africa. And Blair finds this development absolutely extraordinary, underlying how the UK has inadvertently exacerbated the very problem that Brexit was supposed to solve. Blair's argument on the immigration front is compelling, I think. He points out that the UK now faces higher levels of immigration overall, particularly with people bringing dependents, which has contributed to net migration figures reaching a staggering 764,000 in 2022. The influx of younger European workers, many of whom filled roles in sectors like hospitality and technology, has been replaced by migration from countries, from regions less closely integrated with the UK, and this has left industries struggling with labour shortages while immigration numbers have remained high or indeed have peaked. Blair is also critical of the Conservative leadership's handling of Brexit, accusing them of putting political ideology before effective policy. And he sees the nationalism and the extreme Euroscepticism of the Conservative Party as a perversion of Thatcherism, leading to a destabilisation of the UK not seen since the late 1970s. And in his view, the decision to sever ties with Europe has weakened the UK, both economically and diplomatically, as it loses its standing within the EU without gaining tangible benefits elsewhere. So beyond the immediate fallout from Brexit, Blair warns of broader geopolitical challenges, particularly regarding the deteriorating US-China relationship and the West's need to confront Russia's aggression in Ukraine. He emphasises the need for the UK to rethink its place in the world, especially given that by mid-century, global power will be concentrated in the US, China and India, leaving the UK relatively insignificant in a smaller position than it ever has been. Blair's concern about the rise of immigration in the post-Brexit conflict reflects a broader issue, the contradiction between the political rhetoric of control and the reality of global migration patterns. And his point about the shift from European to non-European immigration is particularly important because it highlights how Brexit has not led to a more manageable or predictable immigration system. Instead, the UK's withdrawal from the EU has introduced more complexity and unpredictability. From my perspective, Blair's critique underscores the inherent challenges of managing globalization in an interconnected world, and the vision of sovereignty and control offered by Brexit campaigners was in many ways a nostalgic illusion and a mistake. I think that Brexit was an error. In reality, the UK, like many countries, needs to navigate the complexities of global labour markets, economic dependencies, and the broader global relationships. Immigration is not something that can simply be controlled without unintended consequences such as labour shortages or demographic imbalances. If we try and control immigration by looking to those areas that where we have the most bureaucratic paperwork, that is education, then we are spiting our nose to save our face. We are destroying our universities, we are destroying the English language centres, we are destroying the foreign education that we offer. We are destroying the opportunity for young people to go abroad and enjoy a partnership with foreign universities, foreign schools, foreign colleges. We are isolating ourselves, and we are causing not only academic and educational poverty, we're also causing economic poverty. We are crippling ourselves economically. We are taking global leaders. We are very good at education, and we are destroying that simply to fulfill some sort of statistic, rather than dealing with the real problems, which is sort of the black economy, which grows because of the desperation of individuals here and of communities here in Britain that feel disenfranchised, that feel lost, that feel impatient. But, it has ever been thus since the beginning of the 21st century. And that started with Labour. It started with David Blunkett. So Blair certainly doesn't have a ticket to sanctity here, because Blair is part of the problem. And what we need is to embrace what is good and to quietly shed what is not good. And what we do well is often the stuff which is well documented. And that's a cheap and easy target. But it's been the cheap and easy target since Theresa May got into the Home Office. That is the focus of the hostile environment. So if you're trying to get a visa renewed, as a student, for example, it's a misery, and it's going to take weeks out of your life. And that's assuming it's going to work. We need to tidy this up. A student who is coming here from abroad, if they've got an offer of a place and they've done all the various exams, they shouldn't have to go through all the same hoops again for the Home Office. It should be a one-stop service, and we should trust our academic institutions. Indeed, what we've got is a duplicating of roles, because the academic institutions have their figure in place who interfaces with the Home Office. Why don't we just give that figure the opportunity of making that decision, instead of having all this nonsense? Blair's focus on the long-term strategic challenges that we face in the UK, particularly in relation to China, the US, and to AI, artificial intelligence, reveals a keen awareness that Britain must look beyond Brexit and immigration. The UK's future prosperity, as Blair notes, will depend on its ability to adapt to technological revolutions like AI, rather than to fixate on immigration, to position itself effectively in a world where geopolitical power is shifting, where ideas are more important than location. Blair's assessment of Brexit's failures a warning about the dangers of political populism and the risks of isolating our country from its most important allies and economic partners. His critique is not just about past mistakes, of Brexit or whatever, but a call to rethink the UK's future role in a rapidly changing global order. The post-Brexit wave of immigration is just one symptom of a deeper malaise, a UK adrift, struggling to find its place, struggling to rebuild its identity in a world it no longer feels in control of. That sums us all up, doesn't it? So I think we have a need to rethink and to retarget what we do.